My name's Tyler, and my girlfriend Megan and I both grew up in a mid-sized town of about 20,000 people. We actually went to the same high school, but weirdly enough, we didn't cross paths until a few years later. After college, I landed a job that had me traveling all over the state. Eventually, I asked to be assigned to the branch office in my hometown. Made sense to do business there, and they agreed since there wasn't a rep covering that area. A few months in, I settled into a rhythm, a week or two at the city office, a week back home, and 1 or 2 weeks on the road. After about a year of bouncing around, I decided to put down roots and bought a house in my hometown. That's where I met Megan, at a Friday night party. I had just flown back from a business trip and was catching up on some paperwork at the office when Luke, our managing director and someone I'd grown up with, stopped by. We went to different high schools, but we became close over the years. He asked how things were going and then invited me to a little get-together that night with some of his buddies. It was last minute, but I figured, why not grab a few drinks and unwind? That night, Luke introduced me to Megan. She was a new hire at our hometown branch, and from the moment we met, we hit it off. Things moved fast, but everything felt easy. She got along great with my parents, and hers were relieved to see her happy again after going through a rough stretch with depression and past relationship drama. After 2 solid years of dating, Megan moved into my place. Life was good, for almost a year. Then, things started to shift. Our FaceTime calls got shorter. Sometimes, she wouldn't pick up at all, saying she was busy. I tried not to read too much into it, but then neighbors started telling me they'd seen a black Chevy Camaro parked near my house when I was away. It looked a lot like Luke's car. Then I started finding clothes in our closet that weren't mine. Red flags were everywhere. Still, Megan denied everything. Said I was overthinking it. Claimed Luke would sometimes drop by for work-related stuff but never stayed long, definitely not overnight. Against my better judgment, I let it go. I didn't want to believe she could be lying to me. But that gut feeling, that something was off, just wouldn't go away. Nearly 6 months later, I wrapped up a major contract ahead of schedule. I booked an earlier flight home to surprise everyone. As I pulled into town, I spotted Luke's car blocking the alley gate behind my house. Confused, I parked and walked up quietly, and through the kitchen window. I saw them. Megan and Luke. Together. In the most intimate way possible. Right there. In my kitchen. I didn't go in. I didn't say a word. I just turned around, got in my car, and drove. I cried, hard, for what felt like hours. But those tears quickly turned into something else, pure rage. I didn't believe in violence. But I did believe in consequences. And that night, I made a decision. They were both going to suffer. And I was going to be the one to make it happen. I circled back to my street but stayed out of view. I needed to know how long he'd be there. From a spot near the gate, I called Megan's phone. They both jumped when they saw my name pop up on the screen. She hesitated, probably wondering if she should answer. It rang out. So I called again. This time, she picked up. I told her I was about 15 minutes away and didn't want to startle her by showing up unannounced. She sounded surprised, but tried to act happy. Said she was just about to get up and change. We said a quick goodbye. Moments later, I watched as Luke scrambled out of the back gate, half-dressed, bolted to his car, and peeled out of there like a bat out of hell. I couldn't help but laugh. They'd almost been caught red-handed. After waiting a bit, I drove into the same alley Luke had just fled. The house was quiet. Megan had already gone to bed. I didn't say anything that night. But I couldn't sleep. I sat in my office stewing, thinking. That's when I knew. This wouldn't be left to chance. Karma needed a little help. I was going to ruin them both, separately. I knew a little secret about Luke. He had a low-key addiction, not a serious one, but definitely enough to break company policy. I'd seen the powder once in his office. Never mentioned it. I actually covered for him once because I didn't want him to get fired. But now? Different story. A few weeks later, I had a small group of friends over, Luke included. We were drinking, hanging out. I made sure he got nice and drunk. Told him he could crash at my place. Once he passed out, I took his office keys. I went straight to the branch office. I knew exactly where to look. His desk had a hidden compartment in the bottom drawer. Bingo. Found all sorts of stuff in there. Took pictures. Put everything back exactly how it was. Then I installed a tiny spy camera above his office door. Judging by what I found, he needed his fix at least twice a day. At home, I'd been trying to get security cameras installed, but Megan always had an excuse not to. But now, I had other plans. To set the stage for everything, I faked a break-in at my house. Smashed the back door and left it wide open like someone had forced their way in. As expected, I started getting messages about it not long after. When I got back into town, my mom was panicked, Megan was shaken up, and the cops were already trying to get in touch with me. I returned their calls and told them I'd been out of state on business but would talk to them properly next week. While I was away, I had Megan stay with my parents, and I got my dad to arrange for a full security setup, cameras, alarm system, the whole 9 yards. When I got back, I played dumb, acted shocked about the break-in. The security company rep came out to walk us through everything. And then came the moment I had been waiting for. Megan asked, all coy and nervous, "What if I don't want certain things to be recorded?" I knew exactly what she meant. She played it off like it was about modesty or privacy, but the question gave her away. The security guy said it was a common concern. On our home computer, he showed us how to disable specific cameras temporarily, for private moments. As I walked him out, I asked if disabling the cameras would trigger any sort of alert. He came back inside, helped me set up email notifications just in case the cameras were tampered with, and left. After that I got to work. Megan went grocery shopping that afternoon. While she was out, I strategically planted tiny spy cameras, button cams, around the house. It was perfect. All I had to do now was wait. I also turned to Reddit, tapping into legal advice forums to get clarity on common law relationships in our country. I needed to know if I could kick Megan out without owing her a dime. We'd been dating for about 4.5 years, but technically, we hadn't lived together long enough to count as a de facto couple. Plus, I was the one paying the mortgage, utilities, everything. She never paid rent. A lawyer I found through Reddit confirmed I had nothing to worry about financially. He even helped draft a document to back me up in case things went sideways. I was legally protected. No surprises. Then, like a gift from the universe, my boss offered me a promotion to lead the city office team, less travel, more pay. I jumped on it. The transfer process would take about 6 weeks. Perfect timing to set my plan in motion and gather solid evidence. The next week, I returned to my hometown and put things into play. First step, I asked Luke for a favor. Could he approve a week of vacation time for Megan? I told him I wanted to send her and a couple friends on a short getaway. He was all smiles, told me it was a great idea, even patted me on the back like I was about to propose or something. He had no idea. He agreed to clear the time off and promised to keep it hush-hush. But I knew the moment he told one person at the office, the whole place would be buzzing. That night, I sat Megan down and surprised her with the big news, an all-expenses-paid trip to a tropical spa resort for her and 2 of her friends. I told her she deserved it and to pick whoever she wanted to bring along. She was over the moon. I also told her I'd be gone the following week too, heading to the city to prepare for a major client presentation. She seemed disappointed that we wouldn't be home together, but I promised it'd be worth it when she came back. What I didn't tell her: I'd booked a 2-week vacation for myself on the other side of the country. No work, no responsibilities, just freedom. 2 weeks later, on a Sunday, I flew back home and drove into town. Sure enough, as I passed by the house, there it was, Luke's black Camaro, parked like he owned the place. I parked a few blocks away, pulled out my phone, and logged into the home CCTV system. All cameras were active, but I didn't see either of them. Then I checked the spy cams, especially the one hidden in the bedside lamp. There they were. In our bedroom. On our bed. They must have thought they were safe, since there weren't any visible cameras in that room. Over the past 2 weeks, I'd collected so many clips of them in there, I could have made a damn highlight reel. Now it was go time. Using a burner phone with a hidden caller ID, I called the police and pretended to be a neighbor. I told them there was a suspicious car in the alley behind my house, someone passing things through car windows and peeking into my yard. I gave them Luke's car description and implied he might be dealing illegal substances. They said they'd send someone right away. While I waited, I created a brand new email account and fired off all the incriminating footage, Luke using at work, videos from his office, screenshots of substances, everything. I included a few damning photos from that night too. The walls were closing in. And I hadn't even started with Megan yet. After emailing the videos and photos to Luke's boss, I moved on to the next phase. I called Megan and told her I was about 10 minutes from home, even though I knew she was flying out the next morning. I wanted to catch her off guard. While I watched the footage from earlier, I chuckled to myself. The chaos I'd caused was honestly kind of impressive. I'm still surprised I didn't hear anything with how fast it all escalated. Within seconds of me making that call, Luke came flying out the back door, half-dressed, bolting for his car. It was comedy gold. Even better? A police cruiser happened to be driving by just then. They saw Luke speeding off and immediately gave chase. Couldn't have planned it better. When I finally got home, Megan was all smiles, hugging me, acting like everything was normal. We did the usual couple stuff, and she eventually drifted off to sleep. Me? I didn't sleep a wink. The next morning, Megan and her friends packed up and headed out for their spa trip. Once they were gone, I waited a few hours, then started putting the final pieces of my plan into place. I called my buddy, he runs a moving company, and apologized for the last-minute notice. Told him I needed everything packed and moved out by Friday. He was cool with it, and asked where to take the boxes. I told him some of it was going into storage, which wasn't a problem for him. Then I got to work boxing up all of Megan's stuff. Later that day, the police called. They asked if I knew Luke and if I'd noticed any unusual behavior or suspected him of using or distributing illegal substances. I acted totally shocked. Said I had no idea. Turns out, the night before, they'd pulled him over and found a whole stash of hard drugs in his car. Our town has a zero-tolerance policy on that stuff. He was toast. Word got out fast. In small towns, nothing stays quiet for long. By the end of the day, Luke was fired and humiliated. Everything had gone exactly as planned. That night, I stopped by my parents' place. I sat down with them and with Megan's parents too. I told them I'd gotten a promotion and was moving back to the city, but Megan wasn't coming with me. I left out a lot of details, just said things hadn't worked out. They were upset I hadn't told them sooner, especially about Megan, but overall, they were glad I'd kept things civil. They didn't love that I planned to ghost her, but they respected that I wasn't stooping to her level. We shared some drinks, had a few laughs, and yeah, a few tears too, then I headed home. That Friday afternoon was hectic. I arranged for cleaners to come the following week, contacted a real estate agent to put my house on the rental market, and wrapped up everything I needed at the hometown office. I loaded up my car, drove to my parents to say goodbye, and then made one final stop. Catherine's house. Catherine had been Megan's best friend since childhood. She was the only person I trusted enough to help me quietly put this plan into motion. Honestly, without her, I wouldn't have pulled it off so cleanly. I handed her a big manila envelope. It had all the proof I'd collected, a letter I'd written to Megan, and a couple legal documents from my attorney. One of them made it clear Megan was not to contact me again. It also included details on where she could pick up her stuff. Everything was now in a storage unit I'd rented. We said our goodbyes, and I hit the road back to the city. That Sunday morning, I woke up to a storm of missed calls, voicemails, and texts. Megan had come home early. Someone must have tipped her off that something was going down. She found the house empty and a big, "For rent" sign in the front yard. Panicked, she ran to my parents' house. They shut the door in her face. She called everyone she could think of, and eventually got a hold of Catherine, who told her there was a package waiting for her. Apparently, she didn't take it well. I knew for sure she didn't, because my phone was flooded with angry messages, accusing me of framing Luke, of being a liar, of being heartless. I thought she might show up at my door, but she never did. Now it's been 6 weeks since I left, and since I got promoted. I'm back in the city, focused on work, and for the first time in a long time, I'm genuinely at peace. I found out about the affair on my son's 8th birthday. We were having a small celebration with close friends, family, and a few coworkers. I was snapping a picture of Megan, her parents, and our son with his friends when a text popped up on her phone. It read, "I love you very much, baby. I miss you." The number wasn't saved. I froze behind the camera. My heart dropped, but I managed to smile for the photo like nothing had happened. On the outside, I looked calm. Inside, my mind was spinning. That message, it didn't sound new. It sounded like something that had been going on for a while. Later that night, when she was asleep, I tried digging through her messages, but I couldn't find anything concrete. Whatever she had done, she'd covered her tracks well. But something inside me snapped. I knew. I just didn't have the proof yet. A few days later, I came home early to spend time with the kids. While charging our backup phone, the one we kept in the kitchen for emergencies, I noticed Megan's Facebook Messenger was still logged in. I don't even know what I was expecting when I clicked in. But what I found? Messages. Hundreds of them. Explicit texts. Photos. Her and some guy named Louis, undressed, dirty talking, sexting like teenagers. And worse? She told him she didn't love me anymore. She said I was too close, too soft, too boring. She told him she wanted to leave me. That she planned to. This hadn't just been a fling. The messages stretched back 2 full years. I sat there, shaking. Hurt, angry, completely gutted. I took screenshots of everything. That same night, while I was still gathering myself, a message came in from her craphead, clearly Louis. "Still good for the weekend?" She replied. "Yeah, honey." The next day, he texted again, confirming the hotel and the room number he'd booked. Freakin' idiot. It was music to my ears. They just handed me the smoking gun and the perfect stage. I was going to confront her. Not at home. Not in private. I was going to do it there, at their weekend getaway. I was going to humiliate them both. The thought of how this would affect our kids crushed me. I kept wondering what kind of future lay ahead. But there was no turning back. She came home from the supermarket that evening, and I could barely look at her. I didn't want to blow my cover, so I stepped out for a while. Had a drink. Talked to my lawyer. Laid the groundwork. Sure enough, the next morning, Megan was all smiles, sweet-talking me like we were teenagers again. She said she wanted to take a spa weekend with the girls, to relax, recharge, and come back ready to reconnect. Said she wanted us to take a vacation together after, to rebuild what we had. I told her it was the best idea I'd ever heard. Played it perfectly. Behind the scenes, I asked my lawyer to draft a formal separation agreement, outlining when she'd move out, how weekends with the kids would be handled, and that no child support would be paid until the divorce was finalized. She had no idea. When she left for the spa weekend, she kissed me goodbye and told me she loved me. I said, "Have fun." As soon as she drove off, I went straight to the bank. I closed all our joint accounts, including the money market one, and took out a cashier's check for her half. I moved the rest into a brand new account under my name. Back home, I printed 35 pages of those Facebook messages, everything from photos to dirty talk. I wanted them in hard copy, just in case. Then I started setting the stage. I called her parents and invited them to a surprise. They were hesitant, asked what it was about. I calmed them down, told them it was something big, something they needed to see. I tracked down Lewis's wife on Facebook. Wasn't hard. I messaged, called, no answer. So I drove to the address listed on her profile. When she opened the door, I explained everything. She broke down. But once she pulled herself together, she agreed to come. We met at the hotel around 12:30 that afternoon. Her parents were already there, standing near the entrance, waiting for an explanation. I told them I'd explain everything soon and led them to the room. I knocked on the door, pretending to be hotel staff. Told them I needed to speak with Lewis. He opened the door in nothing but a towel. The look on his face, pure horror. He tried to say something, but his wife didn't wait. She slapped him across the face and stormed off. He chased after her, towels slipping. From inside, Megan called out, "Who was that?" I walked in with her parents. She came around the corner, also in a towel. When she saw us, she turned white. Then she started crying. Her mother burst into tears. Her father just stood there, completely crushed. I guess Megan was their golden child, the one who could do no wrong. She started babbling. "It's not what it looks like, it's complicated, please listen." I didn't say a word at first. I handed her the divorce papers. Then I gave her the stack of screenshots. I told her I'd be emailing these to everyone we knew, and that our daughter would get a copy, so she'd know exactly who her mother really was. She broke down completely, begging, panicking, worried about her job, her image, everything. I handed her a check for half the money market account and explained that I'd withdrawn the rest from our joint accounts. It was more than enough for her to find a new place. She couldn't stop crying. Her parents stayed quiet. They just stood there, stunned. Eventually, they walked out and waited in the lobby. Megan looked at me like a stranger. She asked, "Why are you doing this?" I stared back at her. "You already know why." I told her I expected her to sign the papers and leave the house quietly when she came to collect her things. As I turned to leave, I looked at Megan and said, "You're free to go have your fun with Lewis." Then I walked out. I paused for a second and turned to her parents. "I'm really sorry you had to see all this." They nodded. They were heartbroken too. They suggested we try seeing a marriage counselor before making any final decisions, but I had already made up my mind. On my way out of the hotel, I passed Lewis and his wife mid-argument in the lobby. It was chaos. She was furious, and he looked like he just watched his whole world collapse. I couldn't help but smile a little. Serves him right. He saw me and threw out some snide remark, something like, "You happy now?" I didn't even hesitate. I shouted back, "Hell yes, I am." Then I got in my car, hands shaking, and as I drove away, I cried. Hard. The weight of everything hit me all at once. But I pulled myself together. I had to. I don't know what Megan did after I left that day, or over the weekend, but I do know she blew up my phone with messages and calls. She wanted to talk. Wanted to explain. I turned off my phone. On Monday, she showed up to talk to the kids. She knelt down and gave them the usual speech. "Mommy and Daddy just need some time apart. We still love you." That kind of thing. Then she looked at me and tried again. Said she was sorry. Said she missed her family. Claimed she didn't know what she was doing, that it had all been a mistake. But I didn't say much. I didn't need to. I'd already decided there was no coming back from this. She betrayed me. And I was never going to let her do it again. Later, I got a call from Mrs. Lewis. She thanked me for coming to her directly. Said she appreciated how I handled everything. Over time, we became close, good friends even. She filed for divorce too. We both knew what it was like to be blindsided, and that kind of pain creates an unspoken bond. When it came time for court, I think the judge could see the toll this had taken on me. He asked for statements from both of our kids, who they wanted to stay with. They both said me. They wanted to stay in the house they grew up in. Megan cried when the divorce was finalized. I got the house. Had to buy her out of some of the equity, but it wasn't a big deal. More importantly, I got primary custody of the kids. They're happy now. We're doing well. Megan still calls sometimes, saying we should try again, that it was just a stupid mistake, that she wants her family back. But I won't go down that road again. It's not going to happen. Things are stable now. I've settled into the new rhythm of life with the kids. But I won't lie, the house still feels weird. There's a kind of hollow vibe, especially in the living room. It used to be the heart of our family time. Now it feels like a ghost town. Even the kids avoid it. I've been working late on purpose, just to stay distracted. For a while, I ignored Megan completely. Shut her out. But I started feeling like that made me no better than her. So I started applying something I read online called the 180. Basically, it means staying polite and civil, but emotionally distant. It's helped. I don't feel like the villain anymore. I'm no longer carrying that guilt. The only time I slipped was last weekend. Megan came by to see the kids, and I found her crying in the bathroom. I helped her up and gave her a quick hug. Not out of love, just basic human compassion. But after that moment, I started wondering if she was waiting for me to walk in, like maybe she was putting on a show. I don't trust her. Not anymore. She still comes around sometimes, talking about saving our marriage. Says she regrets everything. That it was a stupid lapse in judgment. But she looks rough these days. Lost her job. Her boss let her go after finding out about the divorce and what caused it. I heard she and Louis tried staying together for a while. Doesn't bother me. Let them have each other. Like I said from the beginning. Any love I had for her, it's gone. Any feelings I had for Megan died the moment I read those messages. The cruel, dismissive things she said about me, how little she respected me, it shattered whatever love I had left. She stopped being my true love and became a toxic reminder of betrayal. Honestly, I started to think of her like trash I needed to take out before the stench ruined everything else in my life. She tried suggesting a compromise. Said maybe after a few months we could talk about couples counseling, start over. Not a chance. The idea of spending another Christmas with her actually made me nauseous. Her friends? They started reaching out to me. Told me they were on my side now. They'd heard things, seen things. Apparently, Megan wasn't hiding her behavior very well. Word spreads, and when it spread, it wasn't in her favor. As for Louis? Things went south for him, hard. His divorce was brutal. He lost custody of his kid. Got exposed at work thanks to his now ex-wife. Eventually, he lost his job too. He even confronted me once. Tried blaming me for everything that happened to him. Said it was my fault. I laughed in his face. Then I filed a restraining order and made sure I wouldn't have to deal with him again. Megan and Louis ended up living together, but I heard it's far from bliss. He resents her now, blames her for how his life blew up. She looks pale, worn down, isolated. She's got no real friends left. And sometimes, I'll admit, I feel sorry for her. Sometimes, if she's really struggling, I let her stay overnight for the kids' sake. But I'm always careful. There's no love there. No trust. Meanwhile, I started seeing someone new. It happened after the divorce. My friends threw me a party to lift my spirits, and that's where I met her. I'm not saying her name, but she's amazing. Warm, kind, and the kind of presence my kids instantly clicked with. We've been dating for 2 months, and yeah, I asked her to move in. She said yes. Megan wasn't thrilled. She still thinks there's hope. Still clings to this fantasy of us getting back together. Keeps begging, crying, saying she wants her family back. But like I said from the start, that's not happening. She believes that no matter what, she can win me back. Then a few weeks later, I get a call from my lawyer. He sounds a little confused, maybe even a bit amused. Your ex-wife is trying to reopen the case, he says. She claims she's pregnant, and that the child is yours. I was speechless. It was impossible. Megan and I hadn't been close in a long, long time. Not before the divorce, and definitely not after. I told my friends about it, and they all said the same thing: it's just another desperate move. A last-ditch attempt to drag me back into her mess. She thinks claiming we're still tied together by a child will force me to reconsider. But the math doesn't lie. That baby isn't mine. It's Lewis's. The lawyer told me not to worry. Said she'd need a paternity test to prove anything. I agreed. Let the facts speak for themselves. But the next day, she took it a step further. She went straight to my girlfriend and told her she was pregnant with my child. Claimed she was still the mother of my family, that I had betrayed her. I'd had enough. I kicked her out. Told her that from now on, if she wanted to see the kids, it would be at her place. She wasn't welcome in my home anymore. She protested. Cried. Swore I was trying to erase her from our lives. Then she started spreading lies, telling everyone that I only kicked her out to bring in a replacement wife. That I had orchestrated everything to get rid of her. She refused the paternity test, but kept telling people the baby was mine. Then, out of nowhere, I got a call from Lewis's ex-wife. She told me they were getting back together. Said he'd suffered enough and that he was moving in with her soon. I laughed again. I told her, "You might want to talk to Megan before you finalize that. She's saying she's pregnant with my kid. And she's still living with him." There was a long pause. She didn't say much after that, just muttered something about figuring it out. Not long after, Lewis left Megan. Packed his stuff, walked out, and moved back in with his ex. Left Megan alone. And pregnant. I don't know how much of that was real, and honestly, I don't care. She's alone now. No job. No partner. No support. And if she really is expecting, she'll have to face that reality on her own. Do I feel bad? A little. But I didn't do this to her. She did it to herself. As for me? I'm seriously considering marrying my girlfriend. Starting fresh. Somewhere new. A real clean slate, far from this house, far from the memories, far from Megan. It's time to finally start the life I deserve.